especially if you want to be a leader in the opposition of a dictatorship, you must be comfortable to expect and live with those kinds of consequences. So whenever I'm arrested, I am at peace with myself. I am psychologically and emotionally prepared for arrest and for torture. And so I am not in any way, over anxious or stressed because of what happens in those kinds of circumstances. So I have been peaceful and well in my mind and body throughout my incarceration. The biggest challenge in the Ugandan prisons is especially while you are still in the police custody, because the police is an extension, direct extension of the dictator. It's the dictator's arm, and a lot of things therefore happen more while in police detention, and that's why many people are detained for much longer than what is allowed under the law, which is 48 hours, because they are being tortured and harassed and intimidated and negotiated with, like those who are politicians. You know, if you accept to join us, you know, this is what you may enjoy. If you don't, this is what you may face. All that goes on under police custody. So I was relieved when I was removed from the hands of the police and into Moroto prisons. The biggest challenge with the prisons is overcrowding. The prisons ward I was incarcerated in Moroto, we were a total of 174 inmates, and in not a very sizable ward. So at night, every conceivable space in the cell is occupied. And if you are unfortunate and you want, for example, to go to the toilet, which is at one end of the cell, you will have a lot of trouble getting there. That, of course, means that hygiene and general health care of inmates is greatly compromised. In places like Moroto, when I was there, of course, there was no water even in the facilities that I used. It had to be brought from the outside. So there are serious problems of welfare of prisoners as a result of that. You may have heard that when I was in Ruzira prison, I complained especially about the rights of prisoners who are on remand. Remand is supposed to be for purposes of ensuring that a suspect goes, so that you don't con and you are not tried. But a suspect on remand is presumed to be innocent, and therefore should enjoy all rights except the forfeiture of liberty, which is for purposes of ensuring that you go to court. But that is not so. You cannot write a message to the outside. And that's what I was complaining about. I would have expected that I have my right, if I want to write a newspaper article, to do so that it's published. If I want to write a message that is then put on the social media, that it is for communication with the outside. But that's not allowed. You know how you are visited, whether you can talk with your family in private and things like that. These are issues which are of serious concern, and they are not the fault of the prison's officials. They are the fault of the law, because the standing orders and regulations that govern Uganda prisons are those which were put in place during the colonial time. They have not been reviewed. They were standing orders made for prisoners who were not citizens but subjects of the Queen of England. When we gained independence and became the masters of our land, those orders and regulations were not changed. And so I have taken it upon myself to challenge those orders, because they are clearly illegal and unconstitutional, and they must change. There is no reason why a remand prisoner cannot even have his laptop in jail and transact business. Like me, I do business. I'd like to be in touch with my business and transact business, because for all intents and purposes I am innocent, and incarceration should not be beyond what is necessary simply to take me to court to defend myself against whatever charges are brought against me. The other problems in the jail is that remand prisoners spend a long time on remand without trial, especially for capital offenses, which are the ones that the suspects are held in the maximum security prison of Ruzira, where I was. Cases of capital offenses suspects are the ones who are held in Ruzira Upper Prison. Murder, rape, defilement, aggravated robbery, treason, those are the ones who are kept there. Now, those are not triable by magistrates where those cases are first lodged. So prisoners stay there for a long time, waiting to be committed to the High Court that will try them. Like now, what is going on with me? I am not yet committed for trial. So at any stage, the DPP may find that his case cannot stand trial, and he can drop it before committal, and he can withdraw the charge, and I go. So a long time is spent before committal. But once committed, there is no, at least before committal, it is said that if you have been on remand for 6 months without being committed, you can get automatic bail. You can go to court and demand that you are released on bail. And the court is duty bound to release you on bail. Of course, many of our citizens even don't know that. They stay there even after 6 months, some for 2 years, without being committed and without demanding that they are released on bail. But having been committed, even if it takes 10 years, there is no requirement within the law within which you have to be tried. It's not there. It's a fault of the law. I think there must be a cap. There must be a limit to which you can be in prison having been committed without being tried. I have found some people in prison who have been on remand for 7 years inside the prison, on remand. The greatest majority in Rosira are between 3 and 5 years, waiting to be tried. So, when I was in Moroto, I thought that there had not been any criminal session, any court hearing criminal cases for 2 years. No court had sat at all. These are very, very serious matters that somebody can spend 7 years waiting to be tried. Incidentally, if you are sentenced to 10 years in prison, you serve 6 years and 5 months because the prison is required to give you what they call remission. So if you have stayed for 6 years without trial, it means you have already served a sentence of 10 years before you are tried.
Well, that's a press briefing that is ongoing in Kampala, Uganda. Opposition leader there, Kizza Besigye, just talking about his time in prison, basically, expressing himself and talking about what he was facing while he was, in prison, right before he was given that bail. So that, of course, is happening right now. He says that he usually is at peace during his incarceration, and that he doesn't really mind being in prison, but still highlighting the issues that he's been facing together with other inmates in jail. All right, so that's happening in Uganda, but also let's shift to London, where outgoing British Prime Minister David Cameron has left office on 10 Downing Street. This being his last day, he is serving as PM. Cameron will face his last Prime Minister's questions in the Commons before